What's the happy apps, folks? Joe Of All Vapes coming at you. This is your first time checking out my reviews, then smack on that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest and greatest of what I got going on. I got a lot going on, guys, let me tell you. So, been getting into more hardware reviews lately. Nice to kind of switch up the monotony from time to time, you know what I'm saying? So, if any of you guys were able to catch my EXO XL sub-ohm tank review from my guys over at iJoy USA and iJoy Global, then you know iJoy is an awesome company. I mean, they're coming out with some really cool products. Parent company of Limitless Mod Co., so that should definitely resonate some awesomeness in your head right there. But they are also the parent company of one other brand by the name of CigPet. And if it wasn't already obvious at this point, today we're going to be talking about the Eco 12 400 watt capacity. Yes, you heard me correctly. Sub-ohm tank. This is a massive 6.5 milliliter capacity. Now there has been more. I mean, I've seen tanks go up to 12 milliliters, believe it or not, and get just totally, completely insane. The majority of the time, people are toting around 10 to 15 milliliter bottles. This one's a 15 milliliter. But a lot of the time, the 10 milliliter bottles, like this guy right here, you're not going to want to vape through an entire 10 milliliters unless you completely love one flavor. You're like married to one flavor. I like anything that's in between like a 2 to a 5 milliliter capacity. So 6.5 milliliters on a tank is really not that big of a deal. Now, I'm going to be starting something completely and totally new with a lot of my reviews, and I'm going to be doing what's called raw reviews, okay? So that means totally inexperienced, have not tried anything, have not tested anything out. It's going to be completely, totally open and honest, straightforward, first time for everyone. First time you guys are getting to see it, first time I'm getting to try it out, okay? So it's a really good way to be more subjective on product, and there's a lot of product out on the market right now, especially some brand new hardware companies coming out of China that are starting to work more and more with me. So I figure what better way than to compare what a lot of the newer companies have and a lot of the newer products that some of the pre-existing companies have compared to everything else that's out on the market, right? Okay, so it's just straightforward and raw. So that's how it's going to be for the Eco 12 sub-ohm tank. So what I'm going to do is bring the camera a little bit more in depth. We're going to take a look at the ins and outs of the Eco 12. We're going to break it apart literally so you guys can see the internal structure, see what we're talking about. Then we're going to bring the camera back and we're going to fire this bad boy up and give it a true subjective shot against everything else that's going on the open market right now. So let's do it. All right, let's get on with this. So CigPet Eco 12 6.5 milliliter massive fatty sub-ohm tank. And why do I say massive fatty? Because this bad boy is 28 millimeters in diameter. Okay, that's a huge diameter tank, probably by far the biggest one that I have ever seen. And like I said, CigPet is a sister company of iJoy Global and iJoy USA. More iJoy Global. iJoy USA has relatively come new into the United States market. It's basically the US subsidiary. So looking at the back here, obviously we're getting this in the three most common colors: black, stainless steel, and rainbow. Let's take a quick look at some of the products that just come with this particular passage. So resin drip tip, as you can see, it's kind of a bluish, almost like a stabilized wood kind of looking kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty popular nowadays, so I'm sure anybody can find something to match up with that. As far as I know, the resin drip tip only comes in this one particular color. Yeah, I mean, from the retail sites, that's pretty much all I've seen so far. So you get an extra glass tube, some O-rings, warranty card, got the tank. Looks like it's coming with a 0.12 ohm coil, which busts up from 60 to 350 watts. Then you're getting the Eco Q4. That's bringing it from 60 to 180. So the optional features are pretty much what we're talking about when we're talking about high wattage output. As you can see, the Eco T16 busts down from 0.11 ohms, but gives you anywhere between 60 to 400 watts. I am aware that there are some high wattage output devices out there, but come on guys, that's pretty insane. What I do love about this, though, is that you do get an optional RTA deck, so you can completely build within 4 different fun builds. Apparently, they better be fun. But anyways, you know, I always love the new tank designs like this that come with the RTA decks that you can build onto. I think it's a really cool aspect of some of the newer stuff out there. So here we go. This is the Eco 12 in all of its beautiful glory. As you can see, a lot of the newer large capacity tanks have these massive coils with all the information on the side. You can see the 0.12 ohm, 60 to 350, the T12 coil setup. So we're going to take this bad boy out and just kind of set everything aside right now. Resin drip tip, like I said. The one cool thing about this is that it's comparative to Delrin, which means you're not going to get a hot lip when you're vaping on some of the large some-ohm tanks, okay? Some of that vapor can be a little bit hot. And like the EXO XL tank, this one is top filling. Really super simple top filler, wide bored holes, if you can even call those holes within a sense, but just a massive wide bored hole top fill capacity, 6.5 milliliters. Like I said, bottom airflow control. Very, very simple. Okay, I'm just using 2 fingers, as you can see. I mean, there's like no effort going on to this thing at all. Okay, I like a maximum airflow, completely maximum airflow. So I usually always leave mine just completely open. And then of course on the bottom, you got all the you know, the technical legal mumbo jumbo, eco, CigPet, so on and so forth. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of unscrew this a little bit more. And like I said, we're going to take this bad boy completely apart. There's the bottom deck with the coil. Now this section here will come off. Boom, just like that. Just in case you happen to break this, there is an extra one in the box that comes along. And all this stuff comes apart a lot easier just to make cleaning a little bit more accessible. Now, the one difference between the Eco 12 and the EXO XL, like I have right here, is that this portion, this little silver portion right here, connected to the top fill ring, does not come off. These two do not separate. Unlike the EXO XL, where that portion that goes over the top of the coil, connected to the side portion here where the top fill holes are, those do come apart. Okay, this the EXO XL comes completely apart in many pieces. This portion does not. But I mean, you know, big deal. In my opinion, I like it a heck of a lot better that these this top fill portion and this part that goes over the top of the coil stay together. I'm not going to lose it that way, you know what I'm saying? So let's take a look at the massive coil that we're working with right here, okay? So 6 coil chambers, obviously capacity to give you some massive power output with that. Now, as you can see on the inside, it's a pretty solid build. Okay, so the bottom portion here, just very well designed, cut very proportionately, very simple. We're just gonna screw this bad boy right back in. Okay, glass tube right back over the top cap portion, screws, this part right here is actually threaded to screw right over the top of the coil. So that goes on just like that. And one thing I will say is that when you put the top portion and you screw it into the top of the coil, you want to make sure you get a decent seal, okay? And the reason is because when you put your top mounting piece right here back on, you want to make this just finger tight. And kind of pick that up from working with the EXO XL tank, because if you screw this top cap on real super tight and you go to twist it back off, the whole portion between here and the part that screws over the top of the coil is going to come off every time, and it just does kind of make it a little bit of a pain. So if you just screw this top sleeve on just finger tight, as you can see, that's the only portion that's coming off. Okay, all right, so we're going to put that right back on. We're going to put the resin tip back on. Take another quick look at what we're working. Okay, 60 to 350 watts. Now, we're going to put that aside. I'm going to take a look at the inside of the box. There's always some extra goodies that they send along with it, right? Okay, so here is the warranty card. Let's take a look at the other coil, if I can fit my fat fingers in there and get it out. Okay, so this is the other coil design, 0.15 ohm, 60 to 180 watts. This is a little bit more my speed. I'm probably incidentally going to be swapping this out for the one that comes with it. Simply because my lung capacity personally is not that high. So when you get into the large watts, it really is more power necessary than I need. I've seen some really big guys. Heck, I've seen some really skinny guys that have just massive lung capacity that can hit the major hits and just blow clouds like it's like it's a foggy day in San Francisco. You know what I mean? But you take a look at the coil design here. I mean, this is a pretty maximum coil design. Really huge and solid, and this really incidentally is a solid coil. I mean, you can't squeeze it, you can't bend it. It really is high quality. Okay, so sticking that one aside, I'm going to check out the little baglet that comes with it. Okay, there you go. You got the spare O-rings going on, and this I would imagine is probably just a little decorative ring that comes with it. Can't imagine what much else that is. But as you can see here, the little black drip tip insert is actually for smaller drip tips. In case you do not want a wide diameter drip tip, as you can see, the total difference between the hole diameter on the drip tip that comes with the tank comparatively to the insert sleeve used. You just take out the resin drip tip, put this bad boy in, and then you can insert a smaller drip tip of your custom design right into that bad boy. So that is something that is just kind of a fun aspect of a lot of the higher up companies that are coming out with some of these massive capacity and wide diameter sub-ohm tanks. They just give you little extras like that, so that's cool. And of course, you get yourself an extra glass sleeve for the tank, just in case you're a fumbler and happen to break one of these things. And for the life of me, I have never broken one of those. I have known people that have, and I think you just kind of have to be a little bit clumsy to do that. I have yet to break a glass tube on any tank that I have ever had. Knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? So swapping out the low wattage capacity coil for the large 351, okay? So 0.15, 60 to 180 watts, that's what we're working with. That's what works good for me, okay? So we're gonna screw this bad boy on. Get everything nice and tight, okay? Make sure that this comes off just on its own, okay? Like I said, finger tight, so we're just gonna screw that back on finger tight. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this bad boy and I'm going to mount it on one of my box mods. We're gonna throw some liquid in here and we're gonna test this guy out raw, 100%. First time for me, first time seeing it for you guys, and see what the CigPet Eco 12 is all about. Let's do it. All right, guys, so we're going to, as promised, try out the CigPet Eco 12 for the first time. I'm throwing it on a 200 watt wooden box mod that I got custom made for yours truly from Lazy Vapors box mods. And I'm gonna set the wattage here. Okay, so like I said, what do we say? 60 to 180 watts total. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at just kind of a baseline of 100 watts, and we're going to kind of play around with that. Okay, so top portion off, finger tight, like I said, boom, just like that. And now what I'm going to do is fill this full of some awesome tasting e-juice from some Canadian vape fam that I have up north, a company called Vengo Vapes. Make some really primo e-juice. Okay, so you can see going in there pretty smooth. I love the design, the little star design pattern on the side of the coil. It's the little things, you know what I'm saying, guys? Okay, so 6.5 milliliter capacity, like I said. I'm not going to fill it too massively full, but definitely want enough in there to prime it. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Joe, if you would have primed the coil ahead of time in front of the camera and show that everybody can understand what it is that you're doing, and show that you even know what you're talking about. Well, the fact that I even know how to prime a coil before putting it into the tank should say something alone. But so we're gonna fill it just kind of halfway full. Okay, So that's basically just enough to get this bad boy going. Now, what I'm going to do is let that sit and kind of soak in just a little bit, okay? That's pretty much all we're gonna do, is just let it sit and soak in and prime. So in the meantime, we're actually gonna be talking about a price point for the Eco 12. Now, depending on where you go online, you can buy this bad boy in all three colors: the stainless steel, the black, or the rainbow. Anywhere between about 25 to 35 bucks. Right now I'm looking at a website where I can get a low US price point for about 27 bucks. Actually less than that, $26.95. I think that's probably good enough. We're gonna give this a few primer hits. Okay, so the flavor of the juice that I'm using right now is called Ichigo, and that's actually kind of a strawberry creamy caramel. The only reason I mention that is because I want reference pointed towards where it is that I'm going for flavor-wise and capacity of cloud production and stuff like that. A lot of it obviously does have to do with the liquid that you're using, but we're going to get in depth here, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, so the one thing that I'm picking up, kind of a medium warm hit. Now you have to excuse me because I'm just getting off a chest cold. So my lung capacity is even worse than it used to be, but I am getting a really good flavor draw. Okay, so not noticing this spontaneous mod change, what I'm getting on 120 watts is a massive amount of cloud production, a much warmer vape, and the flavor is slightly dissipated from the 100 watt output. So that's pretty much where I'm going to keep it for me. Now I could go up to 180 watts, but you know what? For the heck of it, I'm going to do that just for you guys, just to show you. And let you guys watch me cough my lungs off. So here it is, 180 watts. I don't know if that comes up on camera, but massively warm vape. The flavor quality is still pretty top notch. I'm gonna down ramp this bad boy big time, right back down to 100 watts. That seems to be the sweet spot for me. I'm actually going to lower the air intake to just about, a third of the opening capacity, just to drop it just a wee bit even more. That's about perfect for me, okay? And like I said, I didn't even fully fill this bad boy, and just, it's a really clean, decent looking design. I like it overall, and I can see how you could probably accidentally drop this and break it because it is pretty large. We're talking about a 20 millimeter width diameter once again, so you're gonna want a fairly large mech, if not a box mod, but a round tubular, just to, you know, show this bad boy off properly. So far the Eco 12 from CigPet, sister company of iJoy Global, is a pretty decent tank. I'm not getting any negative off of this whatsoever. It's a simple design. I love the top fill option. I like the 6.5 milliliter capacity. Even though this is 28 millimeters in diameter, it's pretty huge as far as that's concerned. It basically just looks like an overcompensated design of the EXO XL. The EXO XL is only about 26 millimeters in diameter, so a little bit smaller. I really don't think that the construction of this aided in any way towards the overall output of the quality. So we're getting in really good flavor. If you have a large lung capacity, this thing is going to burn it up for you, okay? You're talking about massive, massive clouds, large cloud quantity, whether or not you're working a 70-30 and 80-20, you know, or 100% VG. Lord help me, I wouldn't be able to breathe on that one. The one thing I do love about this tank is that the flavor output is top-notch. I'm getting really solid quality flavor and probably better flavor in my experience so far on the lower wattage end, around the 60 to 100 than the 100 all the way to 180. So yeah, you can get some solid output with this. and at a 400 watt capacity output, wattage wise, you know, again, I really would like to see the guy, or the girl for that matter, with a lung capacity big enough to be able to inhale a cloud that large. They better be blowing some solid rings, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, overall, the Eco 12 from CigPet, really good coil design, really good tank design, and I just think it's another quality, innovative product from the guys over at iJoy, you know what I'm saying? So, U.S. price point, once again, $26.97. On the low end, probably anywhere between 30 to 35 bucks. I've seen it on the high end, depending on where you purchase it. And you get a ton of different coil designs, plus an Eco RTA deck that allows you to build up to 4 different builds. For those of us that like to play around with the individual coil builds, I get my coils built for me, so I'll probably have some fun with that when I order the RTA deck, and I definitely will be. So if any of you guys have tried the Eco 12 and you know, just have some different experience with it, have anything personal to say about it, definitely slam it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear back from you. A little bit of feedback is always pretty boss when it comes to stuff like the new hardware out on the market. So until this stuff gets flooded, do me a favor, spread the word here, Joe Of All Vapes on YouTube, and you know, share this with your friends and give me as much feedback on the Eco 12 from CigPet as much as possible. So more hardware coming in from my guys over at iJoy. This is the final product that I have from them, but I am going to be getting in some new stuff here pretty soon. Really fortunate to be able to work with a company like that and a lot of the other great hardware companies around the globe, you know what I'm saying? So thank you once again for joining me. This is Joe Of All Vapes, your eye in that vaping sky. Wishing you to stay humble as always. Love yourselves, love each other, and by all means, keep it stupendously, amazingly cloudy. Hey everybody, this is Joe Of All Vapes. Thank you for watching. For the best in vape reviews, pound that subscribe button, and don't forget, vaping saves lives.